I love you, Portland. You're so darn enthusiastic. Makes me happy. I'm Jesse Blaze Snider. I'm moderating your panel, as well as a whole bunch of panels in this room all day long. I have a little organization called I Don't Know Bleep about comics, which is designed to help people transition from, wanting to read comics to actually doing it. Because, I don't know about you, but most people are like, hey man, that movie is based on a book, it's supposed to be good. You go, oh, I'm gonna read the book. But if you go, oh man, you hear that? It's based on a comic, it's supposed to be good. Nobody says, I'm gonna go read the comic. You should. Tomorrow, I think it's 3 or 4 in this room, we'll be doing the panel, IDKS about comics, and there's no stupid questions. I'm not comic book guy, I'm not gonna talk down to you, and me and my friends are gonna chat about how awesome comics are, because they are awesome. The greatest entertainment medium, period, because there's no budget. You can draw whatever you can imagine, and that is a very worthwhile creative endeavor. Anyway, Chris is gonna be here in just a minute. And we're going to start, but I just wanted to say hello and welcome, and we're going to have some fun. Do we have a lot of people with questions too? When I say, hey, let's take some questions, I expect an orderly, but hopefully speedy line to form right there. And we may be moving that microphone because we can't see you with the podium in the way, so we might move that microphone to here. Wherever the microphones are, line up behind them, and we'll get some questions done. Last time I had to, turn a few people away with questions, and I felt bad. I don't want that to happen again. So this time we're going to be a little more, what's the word, economical about it. All right. Are we good? Almost? All right. Anybody know any good jokes? I'm a musician, and I was playing a show at a college once, and my guitar player's string broke. And it was one of those breaks where it was just like, you could not go on. It sounded terrible. I don't think it was actually the string. Initially, we thought it was the string, then it turned out it was the speaker. So I'm just like trying to cover time. I'm like, knock, knock, as a joke, right? Whole crowd goes, who's there? And I'm like, I don't know any knock-knock jokes. And they're like, wait, I know one. Banana. and they go, banana who? Banana. Banana. Orange. Orange, glad I didn't say banana? Everybody, without further ado, Christopher Judge. Pleasure to meet you, sir. Go. So
let's get this out of the way right now.
And that's how you know he's a former football player.
Hold on. Okay.
I have the best job.
All right. Where's your mic? There, take mine. There it is. Okay, now we can talk.
You're really, playing the crowd like a banjo. I didn't have to warm them up for you. I should have sent you out here to warm them up for yourself.
Really?
So
I'm older now. Sometimes I have to just warm myself up.
Yeah, well, you've done a fabulous job. So I like to do some research on top of, everybody knows you from Stargate.
Wait, let me just see how many kids are here so I know how salty or not salty I can be.
Do we have sensitive ears in the audience? No. One?
Oh wait, there's
okay.
There's a few. Okay, good.
Thanks,
okay.
guys.
So this will
I'm just kidding.
This will be the PG version. Okay.
So you played football.
Yes.
And were an ass kicker.
PG. I was a butt kicker.
I thought ass kicker was reasonable.
A butt kicker.
I'll remove that, Mom. She says ass kicker's okay.
There's a dad here who may not agree.
Oh, no, Dad says it's okay. I'm getting thumbs up. Ass kickers, that's passable. Okay. Now that I've said it enough times that it's rendered meaningless. So, you know, I tried to do more research because you were awesome, and you know, I figured I don't know all the conference details. I'm more pro football, less college football guy. But it seemed like you were a sure candidate to go pro. Did you decide not to?
You know, I played in the Hula Bowl after my senior year, and I was a young, brash kid, and you kind of know who's going to draft you or who intends on drafting you, and I had a fairly wild lifestyle, and the Dallas Cowboys were probably going to draft me, and the Dallas Cowboys scout comes up to me in Hawaii after I had just barely made the bus to practice because my night hadn't ended yet, and said, "Son, you're going to have to change your ways if you want to be a cowboy." And in my 20-year-old mind, which I happened to say out loud to the Cowboys scout was, "Well then, F the Cowboys."
Well, that was the story I was looking for. I was like, you're really, 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 really good. No pro. Why no pro? Okay, now I understand.
And kids, the F means fun.
Well, fun, those Cowboys. So I was really happy to learn. I realized I was a big fan of X-Men Evolution. You were the voice of Magneto.
Yes. Yeah.
I loved you as Magneto, not knowing it was you.
Thank
you. And you were the voice of Zodak on the 2000X He-Man series, Masters of the Universe series. Sorry.
Yes.
Which was also a great one. I mean, you got a great low timbre.
Well, thank you.
Now, the interesting
Indeed.
thing. Can you say it's a lady? Ooh, it's a lady. So the coolest thing for me finding out was that you're a writer, and you wrote like 4 episodes of Stargate.
4 or 5, yeah.
4 or 5.
Yeah.
And then I hear that you're working on a new project that's like your own writing project.
Yes.
Angels. I wrote that.
Oh, Rage of Angels.
But
yes.
yeah, what's the deal with Rage of Angels? And it sounded like it was an important kind of project for you.
Basically, we've kind of taken my adaptation of kind of the Old Testament, set it into modern day, and basically what it is Gabriel, the Archangel Gabriel, has come to Earth to prepare for Armageddon, and Gabriel, being the wrath of God, is an ass kicker.
And we've established we can say that. Okay, don't worry.
You know, ass is a gateway word.
I've heard that.
But yeah, so and my partner's on it is Bill McDonald, who, if any of you saw Rome, he was the creator of Rome. And
what stage of the game is it in? Are you wrote it?
We have now sold it for the 3rd time.
All right.
Yeah. So we developed it at MGM until their untimely financial crisis. Then we developed it at Stars, and now we're about to make another announcement where we are now. But I mean, I love that. I wrote the pilot, but what I'm really excited about is I'm also partnered in a new big sci-fi space show that actually happens in space. I know some networks, which I won't name, thinks that no sci-fi happens in space, and I won't say the name of that sci-fi network.
I don't think they know.
No, let me tell you, I do. I love the guys over there. I love the people over there. And it truly was. I mean, you know, everyone knows the economic situation that we're hopefully pulling out of, and
Doesn't look like it.
yeah, I don't know. And space dramas are costly, and but even the network to be named later, they actually do have like actual space shows in development. So I'm very excited for their shows, but I'm more excited for my own because we are also partnered with Roddenberry Entertainment. So yeah, we're very excited about. Trevor, yeah, Trevor's is who we deal with, yeah.
I'm a Star Trek guy, hands down. Sorry, Star Wars, but Star Trek. Well, everybody is so enthusiastic and in love with you, so I was thinking maybe we'd just open it up to questions and see what happens.
Absolutely.
Does that sound good?
Wait, before we start.
Sure.
Kim, are you here? Kim?
Kim.
Well, no, I mean my old college buddy, Kim.
Oh, not just a random person named Kim. Is anybody named Kim? Anyone else?
She's not here yet? Okay. So let's open it up.
All right, we're going to open it up to questions. Remember what I said earlier? Apparently not. Okay. The microphone is right there, and we can begin forming a line. Don't hurt each other. Question number 1.
All right. In Stargate, your character Teal'c did that sort of weird meditation, the Kelner Ream thing.
Yes.
I was wondering what the story behind that was. Was that just you, or did the writers say, you know, we should just have him not do anything for a few minutes at a time?
Let me tell you the truth of it. So, I had this talk with the writers about, I thought Teal'c spoke too much. I thought that took a lot of, no, in the beginning. And so we had this talk about he should speak less because that gives him more mystery, and then it's also then everything that he says is important. Well, they took it a little further than I thought they would, so he didn't talk at all. So having few lines to memorize really freed up my nightlife. So, a lot of, let me tell you how. So, we did an episode called the Teal'cl. And Sarah Douglas was the leader of the Teal'cl. And Sarah Douglas is literally one of the greatest things about this business is you get to meet. I love that echo. I feel like it's like God.
You're a big deal.
I love that. Sarah Douglas, one of the great things about being an actor is you get to meet actors who've been around for a long time and the stories that they tell, and it's really wonderful. And Sarah's best friend is Grace Jones. Grace had dated Dolph Lundgren during the Rocky days when Dolph was, and so they had done a world tour. Yes.
I love Rocky.
And they had done a world tour, and so Sarah was telling us about their exploits around the world, and it was fantastic. And so to start off the episode, our first day of filming, Sarah had about a 4-page monologue. So we block it out, we go to roll camera, action. Line. What? So we thought, we got a good laugh, we thought she was kidding. She had never looked at the script. Which doesn't decrease how much we loved her. It just made the day really long. So I had gotten 0 sleep that night. So it took us so long to shoot her coverage that we had very limited time to shoot everyone else's coverage. And so we shot it in a lot of 2 shots. And me not saying anything, I actually fell asleep. So that's the one episode that they couldn't edit it out of because we didn't do enough coverage for them to cut to anything else. So if you watch the Teal'cl and they cut to, I think it's Amanda who's talking, I'm asleep over her shoulder. So the next episode that we did, Peter DeLuise, who's one of our, you know Pete DeLuise of the lovely DeLuise family, was his first time directing. We're at the conference table, and long scene, I don't say much. I fall asleep. So Pete yells out from behind the monitors, "Chris," because that's how he talks. "What are you doing? Are you sleeping?" And I said, "No, I'm meditating."
There's a difference,
Yeah.
man.
And he's like, "Why would you be meditating?" And I said, "Because I'm an alien, and they're talking about Earth stuff." Why would that interest my character? So we had this half-hour discussion about it. And
That's some convincing laziness right there.
And they bought it. So the next thing you know, they're writing in meditation scenes in the scripts, which just gave me further license to stay out and drink all night. And that was the birth of Kel No Reaming.
Thank you. That was wonderful.
That was a great, great answer. Next.
Hi.
Hi, honey.
Okay, how old were you when you first started acting?
Well, then that would tell you how old I am now, wouldn't it? No, my first job was right after I got out of Oregon, the University of Oregon, fighting ducks. Did someone say beavers?
Get out. Get out. Get out.
I will just assume you meant the other one. And kids.
You were right. Ass is a gateway word. And here we are now. It's gotten dirtier.
I've completely forgotten what you asked.
I asked how old you were when you
right.
first started acting and what that job was.
My first kind of on-camera job was right after I got out of Oregon. It was the first year of Fox, and they didn't have much programming. So they actually held 4 regional contests to kind of host your own talk show, music video show, kind of styled in the early days of MTV. And I actually won the Northwest one. And so my first job on television was the Doug Judge Morning Show, which was actually shot in Eugene, Oregon. And my first paying job, what? You guys couldn't live on $50 a week? Was Bird on a Wire. My first scene ever was with Mel Gibson and Goldie Hawn. And so, yeah.
Thank you.
Oh, and how old was I?
Oh, yeah.
Look it up. No. Oh, put it this way.
It's on Wikipedia. Give me a second. I'll get the information for you.
I guess I first started working in 1987 was when I first started working.
Okay.
You're writing
Oh,
it
she's
down.
making notes.
Yeah.
My ex-wife didn't send you here, did she?
No. I'm writing my answers down for my school paper thing, so.
Yeah. Excellent. Well, then I didn't mean to mock you.
It's fine.
And then, so you're in high school?
Yeah.
And you'll be then going on to the University of Oregon?
Maybe. I'm thinking of going to Juilliard and dancing. So.
Hey.
Okay. And that's
Reach for the stars.
And that's because U of O doesn't have a dance program? Is that it? Is that what? Is that?
It's kind of more of a cheerleading program.
It's because I'm addicted to the movie Step Up, and that's one of the schools in Step Up, so.
Right. Well,
Juilliard.
good on you, baby, and all the best to you, honey.
Thank
Truly.
you.
So So I just have to wonder, Michael Shanks was on Supernatural, Amanda Tapping's a recurring villain now, and several other people have done it. Is there any plans for you to appear on Supernatural?
No, because I'm not Canadian. You know, there is, and believe me, you know, I lived in Vancouver for 11 years. I lived in Montreal for 2 years. Believe me, I love Canadians. And what Canadians do as a country, no, what? Why is that funny?
Are there Canadian mockers in this room? The Canadians don't look anything like they look on South Park, I'll have you know. They don't have the flapping heads. You were saying about Canadians?
What they do very well is protect their film industry. And so it's now almost impossible to guest star or even appear on shows that are shot in Canada because to get the tax breaks, they hire Canadians. And which, I mean, God bless them, I wish America did that. I wish America made it more difficult and not because I don't love their talent, not because but we need work. America needs work. You know what I mean? And it's really time that we start protecting our industry and that we give tax breaks for productions that stay in the United States, that hire American. I mean, if you knew how many Aussies, Brits are playing Americans on shows, you would just give your head a shake. I mean, to hire someone to be an American when there are Americans who can do it is kind of ridiculous, you know. And but to get back to your question, which was what?
Is there a chance of you appearing on Supernatural?
No. First of all, they can't afford me. No, I do. I love the show, and I know. I mean, I was just with Amanda in Chicago, and you know, she's great on it, and I love that. You know, I love to see all of us working, and so it's great that they're on there. But no, there isn't. There's. In fact, I can tell you, no.
Well, of course, I want to ask what your opinion is on
no
Syria.
hi, no hello, no.
Hi. And, you know, U.S. foreign policy in general. No. It's a question about Stargate. Kind of obscure, but when am I going to get a chance to ask? On the show, like, if you were, like, scenes where you're looking really, like, intense and angry, you have this, like, muscle on the side of your head. Yeah, okay. Not the only one. And you just, like, flex the crap out of it. Like, I want to know, I mean, was that you? Did they tell you? Now flex your temple muscle. Like, how did you, how did that happen? Because you, like, do it a lot.
Has that been added into the scripts? Temple muscle. Page 3, he doesn't say anything, temple muscle.
Well, you know, different actors have different methods of doing things. You know, some people to cry, they pull out nose hair. Some people, you know, they get menthol blown into their eyes. So for me to do that, to get into that mind space where I just had to think of my ex-wife and alimony. Why am I still paying her? Why am I still paying? Why? Here it goes. Oh God.
Do you find this to be a therapeutic process?
It is. So, doctor, when I was 12.
Careful, son, you're crushing all the pillows with your muscle head.
Thank
We'll have
you.
to buy a
Now
new
I
couch.
know.
Christopher Judge was here. He took the whole place apart.
Hey, handsome, how's it going?
Hi, honey, how are you?
Pretty good.
See, that's a hello.
Well, she heard
Score
you
one for the
chastise the last guy.
First off, best tagline ever. What is an Oprah? Now I'm gonna really take you back. Okay. How come you weren't on First Wave much more?
How come I wasn't on?
First Wave? Yeah.
Chris Brancato was the writer creator of that
Right.
with Francis Ford Coppola. I don't know if anyone knows that. This is how First Wave came about. As
Somebody's
most of
brain
my
fart.
stories start with drinking.
I am noticing a pattern.
Yeah. I met Chris, who now does Hannibal, if you guys
Yes.
love that show. I'm just gonna divert for a second. What's his name? Mickelson? Mads Mikkelsen or
Mads Mikkelsen. Mikkelsen, I
Is
think
he
so.
not the weirdest leading man ever?
Yeah, and I have to say,
He's so wonderfully odd.
He is, but I have to say, and please forgive me, audience, he stunk in the Three Musketeers. I'm sorry, he is not Lieutenant Rochefort.
You hear that, everybody? Just so you
Michael
know, he
Wincott.
stunk in Three Musketeers.
Michael Wincott.
All right, be
was
prepared
the
if you
best
haven't seen it
Lieutenant
yet.
Rochefort.
Neither have I.
So I was out there back in those days in Vancouver. There was pretty much one hotel that everyone doing a production stayed at.
Okay.
And I just happened to bump into Brancato at the bar. And we started talking, and he's like, "Oh, you do Stargate? I love that show. I blah, blah, blah."
Yeah.
And I said, I want to do First Wave. And he said, "Really?" I said, "Yeah." So literally, he wrote a script for me.
Wasn't long enough. We needed to see more of you. I mean, granted you were doing the gate, but still, come on. Your
Are you
character-
talking like more of him shower scene? Or
No.
I mean, I don't know.
But his character was a central focal point for a couple of the episodes for First Wave, which helped Kate Foster.
Well,
The producers were very lax. They should have done more because it helped him refocus and recenter so that he can continue his mission. That was the whole purpose behind you.
Right.
And it was just completely stupid that they did not continue with you.
Well, but honey, I appreciate your passion, but I was doing another show
I
called
understand
Stargate
that.
at the
Right.
time.
I understand that, but you know,
So
a lot
it-
of
it-
a lot of you guys do double duty.
Well, but it became, because we had talked about doing more, and Brancato actually was friends with Brad. In fact,
Right.
they had worked together on The Outer Limits, so we had actually talked about it, about me being on First Wave more, but MGM didn't really go for it, and it just I just didn't have the time to do
Right.
to do
More's the
more of
pity
them.
and shame on them. Thank you very
But
much.
thank you, honey.
Next question.
Hey, Chris.
Hey. No, wait, I'm no handsome, no charming.
I was gonna
Come on,
open
you
with
just
handsome,
nitpicking now, Chris.
but then somebody might rush me from the back. I was hoping you might regale us with a story of some of the hijinks behind the set.
He used regale and hijinks in one sentence. I love Oregon.
Handsome. Is that a dictionary in your back pocket, or are you just happy to see me?
Well, you know, I don't know if you guys have heard. We had a lot of fun on set, and I was in Atlanta with Rick, and we did our first panel ever together, and people were mortified because for 17 minutes all we did was talk about farting, and that was a big part of our set, and so much so that I modified my diet so that they would not only have better tone, but also, how do I say it? Bouquet. Yeah, yeah. So every night before I went to bed, because Rick is truly my fart master. He is the one that took me to the next level.
Your fart sensei.
Yes. So every night before I went to bed, I would eat a bowl of Fiber One, topped by Benefiber, topped by Slim Fast.
You really went for it.
The results were explosive. And MGM, so it got really bad. So much so that we were shooting in the gate.
I thought you were about to say so much so that I was. He said shooting, not the other word. We didn't add that to the list yet.
We're in the control room, which is the smaller room that, you know, General Hamill would always say, SG-1, you have a go. So we were shooting in that room, and I was in particularly good form that day. So we had to actually stop shooting for a half hour to clear out the room. So MGM being a company that loves, so every day you get a production report. So it says what time your first shot is, why, were there any delays, did someone get hurt, blah, blah. So on the production report, they had to put down, had to take a half-hour break because of farting. This gets sent to MGM. MGM sends back a memo the next day saying that bodily functions which cause timely production delays will no longer be tolerated. Which just meant that the crew couldn't fart anymore, but me and Rick still could. So.
Wait, I have a follow-up question to that question. Was there ever a moment on set where you're working and somebody lets one rip, and then conveniently about 2 minutes later, they're like, I'm just gonna run to the bathroom? Did that ever happen? Because I got to imagine if you're doubling up on Slim Fast and whatever in the morning.
Let me tell you, it wouldn't be 2 minutes later. It would be immediate.
Sorry.
Yeah. I mean, but we had. Were
the ladies in on it?
You know, I don't know why, they really never got into it.
Okay.
I don't know. We tried to get Teal'c and Amanda to do it, and we're like, it's natural, it's part of life. It's everyone does it. Maybe everyone doesn't celebrate it like we do, but.
My wife laughs hysterically when I fart, but never farts. But I entertain her often.
So we would truly, anything, but our crew was in on, like, you would do your close-up, and we got banned from doing each other's off camera. So if we weren't on camera, we would be asked to leave the set because our main goal wasn't to complete the scene, it was to make the other person break. So then the cameramen got in on it. So you'd be doing your close-up, and often for an eye line, you use the matte box of the camera, which is, the covering that goes around the lens. The camera, this is how long we did the show. This was the early days of the internet. The cameraman found this site called, and please, I hope this is not, but it's a real site. I'm not making this up, called ratemypoo.com. They would go on this site and download people's poos and then stick them on the matte box. So you'd be doing your close-up, and when you go to look at that eye line, there's a picture of poo. And this was acceptable.
They were trying to get you in character, man. Give you something to meditate on.
I got into a thing where I used to duct tape people to trees and cars, and that was my big thing for a while. And then I would saran wrap people's toilets in the morning. So I always had the first call time. And so I would go into people's trailers and wrap their toilets with saran wrap. Because when you're tired and you just lift up the thing and you do your business. Imagine their horror when it all splashed back on them. And so I would get guest stars, I would get day players, I didn't care. I would just wait for that scream of terror and horror.
Even now, even thinking of it now.
Oh, I'm doing a movie right now in New York, and it's me and a bunch of kids, a bunch of 20-somethings, who have no idea what's coming. Thank you.
Thank you.
I feel bad. We have a normal question.
Oh, I can make it dirty, sir.
Okay. Go first.
So do you plan on doing any more Stargate movies or anything like that?
I don't know if you guys have seen, but Roland Emmerich and Dean Devlin, who did the Stargate movie, are talking about doing great. Let me tell you a story about this. Well, big boy.
Ask and ye shall receive.
Stargate, the movie, was originally written as a trilogy. And Stargate, the movie, was a pretty good success for them. They did it for 20, 30 million, and it made over 100 million, So MGM wanted the sequel. And even though Emmerich and Devlin had already written it, they wanted to go to like Hawaii to write the sequel. And MGM bought, and whatever the fallout was, I wasn't in the room, I don't know. But there was a fallout. MGM decides, and John Symes, who basically created syndicated television, genius, brilliant man, had done MacGyver and had just come to MGM. They started talking about another vehicle for Richard Dean Anderson. The Stargate thing came up. Hey, what about this as a series? So that's how that happened. So MGM told Emmerich and Devlin, forget you and your sequel. Emmerich and Devlin said, okay. They went to Universal and sold the sequel to, and guess what that sequel was? Independence Day.
Wow.
So who had the last laugh? So people don't know this, that Independence Day was actually the sequel to Stargate. And if you look at it, it's the aliens taking revenge for the death of Ra.
And they're making a new one, too.
Wow, I gotta rewatch Independence Day. Right? To anybody else that just like knocked me over, I'm like, wait, what? How? I have to go see again. All right. We'll be watching that tonight.
And does Alexis Cruz go to Alexis Cruz's panel? And Alexis was there. Alexis did.
I think she has one, but I'm not doing that one.
Well, Alexis is a he.
Oh, I don't know. See? I didn't research anybody, so.
Never watched the show,
Only
did you?
these people.
You never watched the show, did you?
Which one?
It's out now, yes.
Stargate? Totally honest. I've seen maybe one episode on TV in passing, but I love the movie. Hey, you know what? I've also never watched Doctor Who. Yep. I've also never watched, the Star Wars animated, but I have watched every single episode of Star Trek, X-Men, Hulk, Spider-Man, Fantastic Four, and I could go on for forever. Don't you test my geek cred. There's only so many hours in the day. I want to watch Cowboy Bebop, but I just don't have time for anime.
But just so we're clear, never watched Stargate, did you?
No. I tell you what, man. I love when I do these things. I was a VJ for MTV back in the day, and I would meet bands, and you have a good experience with them, and you go, I really want to check out the thing. And at the time I interviewed 311, I had no idea about their music, but they were awesome. And one dude had a Punisher tattoo. He was a geek like me, and I'm the biggest 311 fan under the sun now. So the odds of me watching Stargate now. Yeah, I want to see him sleeping during the takes. I'm like, really? I want to see that.
Did I answer your question?
Yeah.
What was your question?
If you were gonna make any more movies.
Oh, so I didn't really answer your question. Well, so to get back to it, so Emmerich and Devlin, I guess, are planning on doing more Stargate movies, but they really don't involve us. Through the MMO that we did, they were talking about introducing new episodes through the game. I don't know if that's going to happen or not, but I just don't think the new people at MGM, I really don't think that Stargate's really on their radar. I don't know, but I love that. It's being talked about, but nothing is for sure.
Okay.
So, and let me tell you, for me to be Teal'c again, they'd have to back up the truck.
Speaking of Teal'c, who came up with the name Junior?
That was Rick. Rick didn't want to say symbiote. So he just started calling calling him Junior, and it just stuck. A lot of what we did on the show was predicated by what Rick would and would not do. The scripts for Rick were really just a suggestion.
You worked with him back on MacGyver, right?
I did work with him on MacGyver, and he swears to this day that he remembers. But, okay, I gotta say this. This is how our relationship started. So I did a MacGyver back in the, I don't know, late 80s, I guess. And so MacGyver, I mean, it was the most popular show on TV. I was just scared out of my mind. And my first scene is I play this college football player. Yes, I know, what a stretch. Yeah. And MacGyver teaches me about, what?
I'm sorry.
What are you doing?
I kept like sneaking into frame, and I was like, where's the line? The line is right.
I am a child.
So he's gonna teach this brash, arrogant football player about a lever and leverage. So I get there in the morning, I'm scared, but so I have this, the first thing up is this stunt thing where I'm nose to nose with MacGyver, and you know, there's theoretically a ball snap, and I go to get it, he flips me over, and thus demonstrates leverage. So I do it with his stunt double until Rick gets there. And so back in those days when you would go on the set, especially if you were like Richard Dean Anderson or Johnny Depp or whoever, the first day AD would introduce them in the morning. Richard Dean Anderson is now on set, good morning, everyone says good morning, da 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 da. So I'm terrified. Now he comes in, he goes and talks to his stunt double. Stunt double explains it, stunt double explains to him where he's gotta hit me to flip me over. Got it done. I still haven't said boo to him. So I'm literally trembling. And we go to shoot it. Still haven't said good morning to him, still haven't. So I take my stance, and Rick, who's probably in some stage of hangoverness, has his head down. They call action, and he looks up and looks at me, and here's what I get. And that was the basis of our relationship for 17 years.
It's a good icebreaker.
Thanks a lot.
We literally, in Atlanta, we literally were on stage for 17 minutes talking about, do you remember when you farted when we were in the spacesuits? Yes, that still defines our relationship.
I love that the next fart I smell, I'm gonna think, gotta watch Stargate.
So, hello again.
Hi.
Hi. So I'm gonna help you canter your halo over the horns today, and I'm just gonna ask because the antics on the set of Stargate are universally well known. Who won the contest and how?
You know.
What contest? Does anybody know what she's talking about?
Practical jokes.
Oh,
they were going for years.
Who won?
Who won
Who'd you make
and
cry?
how?
This is what she wants to know.
Who won and how?
Who cried and quit Stargate? Who quit Stargate because of you? That's what she wants to know.
It's okay.
Put
you
it
can
this
be
way.
honest. We're all friends here.
Oh, honey, I was the king. No one was even close. And you know, we did this thing called, what? Hi. What does that mean? Hi.
That was
Hi.
for me. That was you draw too much attention to it.
Oh.
5 minutes left. There's 5
was
minutes
that
left.
5 minutes? Is there 5 minutes left? Is there 5 minutes? And
now they all know.
Much like Rick, that 5 minutes, that's just a suggestion.
We're gonna have 2 celebrities up on the couch in a minute, I guess, if 5 minutes is a suggestion. The panel's getting even better.
Okay, my greatest thing ever.
It's just us. Just
we
commune.
we had this thing called, and I know it sounds simple and juvenile, and that was the beauty of it.
That's awesome.
Called turd burglar, which involved. I'm so sorry for those of you who have your kids here. So while you're shooting scenes, you would go ask to, you had to take a phone call or whatever. So then you go poo in someone else's toilet and you don't flush it.
Wait. But doesn't that make you a turd gifter?
Yeah.
Here you go. For you. I left you a present. I left you a present under your toilet seat.
When we would, so it became, you couldn't, because now people started locking their doors. So we had to do it. We had to do it to like guest stars and like new people on the show and stuff like that. Let me tell you. So when Ben and Claudia came to set, Claudia didn't take it that well. My greatest burglary ever. I got Beau Bridges. Who surprisingly took it way better than I thought he would. But I mean, and it wasn't just me. I mean, other people got in on it too. So, but I became just manic about locking my doors, about, I just became, well, everyone did. Because everyone was afraid. We would go up and do it to the writers. We would do it to we would go to other sets and do it.
Wait, what sets were your partner sets?
Well, obviously Atlantis shot on our lot, but then we had movies come through, like Blade came through.
Did you get Wesley?
Shooter came through. I have no idea who I got, but I got somebody on Shooter. I mean, these are the childish things that we would do just to keep ourselves amused.
How do you know they didn't just look down and go?
Doesn't look like mine. I'm gonna go anyway.
But some of the most creative stuff, like my stuff was pretty amateur. It was just lowbrow. But the Teamsters, they would do ingenious stuff. Like in the summer, because Vancouver climate is very much like here, it rains a lot. So when it gets hot, obviously the first thing you do, turn on your air conditioning. The Teamsters would go and like fill your vents with feathers and powdered sugar and stuff like that. Or you would come out and like
Works
after
well.
work, and they would have your car on blocks. They would steal your tires. Like they did some really ingenious stuff. And another thing that we would do, anytime that we had to walk out like behind something, like if elevator doors opened, if you were supposed to round a corner and meet someone, there might be nudity. One of my favorites was anytime we had somebody new, like a guest star, and they would have to run into us as the elevator doors opened. We'd all have our pants down. Those were some of my favorite stuff.
Are you willing to admit what is the greatest trick that was ever successfully pulled on you?
There's one definitively that. So we talked about the gaseous nature of our set. So I don't remember what episode it was. It was one of the many where I had to be strapped down to a hospital gurney. And we were in the operating room, and it's hot, and I was just, I was in rare form that day. But we no longer stopped anymore for bodily functions that caused production delays. So there were cats wearing all kinds of surgical masks, gas masks. I mean, it truly was, like it got to be that. And so we wrapped for lunch, which was an hour, and it was just terrible. Like even my eyes were watering. It was so bad in it. And they left me strapped to the table the entire lunchtime. And so I had to just sit there and suffer in my own squalor for an hour. That was the best thing they ever did to me.
All right, I can only do one more question. I want to try something interesting. Which of you on this line has the best question? Like, enthusiastically, who thinks their question deserves to be asked? That guy, come. Last question. And is there anywhere I should...
But he has a trident.
Who's got a trident? Yeah, I know, but I'm gonna see him at the costume contest tomorrow. He can tell me what the question was then, and then I'll say, I should have picked you.
Okay, wait.
I've already chosen this guy. You're gonna blow up my spot, man.
Okay, wait. Let's do all the questions here.
I should let you pick
And
anyway.
we'll do it quick. We'll do them quick. We'll do them quick. Okay, we'll do them quick.
Who came up with the forehead cookie?
No. No, wait.
You're fired. Question.
How'd you feel when they chose you to be Teal'c?
I felt like I was about to be rich.
Awesome.
Do you have any plans to wear the armor that's downstairs?
You asked me that, no, who was it that asked me that? You know what? That armor is so uncomfortable. And so the armor is so, I mean, I dreaded. And if you notice over the years, my armor always changed because I was constantly trying to pare it down, make it smaller, make it less, make it, and another thing you don't know, so there was maybe 100 Jaffa outfits. They got washed once a year. So and they're so hot and heavy that you really couldn't wear a lot of stuff under it. And the only armor that was labeled was mine and Braytax. So cats would come to do an episode and you wouldn't get the same armor every day. Let me spell that out for you.
And he used to fart in it a lot. A lot.
So yeah, I probably won't ever get an armor again.
Hey, Chris.
Hey.
The episode where you and Jack were stuck in the time loop, did you guys get to choose like what scenes you got to do? Like, did you have any input
I've got to tell this story
on that?
So Rick is a bigger kid than I am. So Rick, like we hadn't ever really he had never been to my trailer, nothing. When we did this episode, he was coming to knocking on my trailer door like every 5 minutes. Hey, can you do this? Can you juggle? Can you do this? Da da da. We were all golf fanatics, so that's why the golf scene's in there. Let me explain. So Rick basically came up with everything. One of the things that we wanted to do was, you know the scene where he's with the pottery wheel? The original thing that he wanted to do, he wanted O'Neill and Teal'c to reenact the entire montage from Ghost. So you would have, it started off where I'm watching him make this, I'm not understanding, then he shows me, then you see us making one together, and then the last shots of the montage were us both shirtless with clay on our faces. For some reason, MGM didn't go for it. Don't know why.
Hey, Chris.
And I've read some of your fiction. I'm sure you guys would have loved it.
Hi. What were some of your favorite aspects?
I can't stop the Chris train.
What were some of your favorite
He's off the tracks.
aspects of working
He's
on
got one.
Stargate?
So some of my
Favorite aspects of working on Stargate?
Without a doubt, it was not only the actors that came in and did, especially once we were successful, we had a lot of actors that we could never have afforded to have, but who wanted to do it because they watched the show with their kids. So it was great meeting all those people and just the laughs that we had every single day. That was the greatest part of it.
May I remind
the real
there's a
answer
Stargate
is the
panel
money.
tomorrow?
My daughter wanted to know, how many TV shows have you been in?
Oh, tons.
Oh, come on, you can count online. IMDb, next question, Aquaman.
1, go Ducks, and yes.
Wait, one more.
Woo! And what inspired the identity crisis in The Changeling?
Boredom.
Perfect, next.
Truly. No, truly. I really wanted to change my life. I wanted to stop drinking. I wanted to be more serious about my career. I went to the writers. I was a telecommunication and film major, so I had some script stuff. At where? And so I went to him, I pitched, I had written the story for The Warrior. I went and pitched Changeling. I said, please let me write this by myself because the normal process is you sit in a room with the writers, you spitball, you break down the scene with all the writers. I wanted to write it on my own and so they allowed me to do it. And truly what inspired it was I wanted to get Shanks back on the show, and I wanted to ride in a fire truck. That was it. Truly, cheers.
There's 2 left, I can't stop him.
Hey, sexy. First off, I hope you have nothing against British people.
Wait. Let that wash over me for a second. Okay.
First of all, I hope you don't have anything against British people.
Oh, absolutely. No,
Okay.
no, absolutely not.
Okay.
Your food, though. What's...
Only Christopher Judge can talk about farts for an hour and have women come up to the microphone and say, hey, sexy.
I've loved him forever, actually. So, what character that died off the show was like the most impact for you? Like, which character did you not
Teal'c
want to see die?
Dr. Fraser. That was, people ask me what my favorite episode was. It's Heroes 1 and 2. Yeah. I mean, a lot of times we had good episodes. A lot of times, some of them were funny, some had action. Some, I really think that was, we got it right. We had action, but it was touching and heartwarming and heartwarming. So yes, it was Dr. Fraser.
Okay.
Yes. This better be good.
I have to pee.
This better be good.
I really have to pee. And I have another panel next.
I stood in line with a
Are you kidding? I peed 24 minutes ago.
I need an empty bottle.
Hello again.
Hi. Wait, what does your shirt say? Does it say? Oh, that doesn't. Wait, no, that doesn't say duck.
Oh no,
That
that's not for
doesn't say
you.
duck.
That's a
I
mean
thought it said
shirt.
duck.
Yeah, it says duck you.
The first letter's not D.
I had a quick question.
That's really rude, but sexy. Go ahead.
Well, last time I met you, I was having kind of a rough weekend, and your beautiful face lit up my weekend. Aww. And I had to come and say hi to you every day, just to be like, yay, power up, all right. Aww. And I was wondering, how do you stay so charismatic and handsome and smiling, and what is your skincare regimen? 'Cause this is just...
Is this a pickup line? I think she wants a date.
He's a married man.
Let me tell you something. My secret is, I'm pickled. I literally.
A lot of Slim Fast on top of fiber.
Honey, I've drank so much, I think I've been dead since 2004.
Christopher Judge, everybody!
Thank you so much.